Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Holistic Health Podcast. This has been a topic that has come through the DMs, requested many a time, which I think is a great conversation to have because, gosh, who enjoys jet lag? Nobody, right? I haven't done heaps and heaps of big time zone travel, but the last time I used this when it was like more significant was when I went to Europe. I didn't get jet lag at all going over or coming back. And now what I do with all of my clients whenever they're traveling is I'm like, right, send me your flight details and then just write them out a plan of like, this is how to do it. And if they follow it, I would say pretty good strike rate of no one getting jet lag. But obviously you have to actually follow the advice for that to work. So there's been a couple of people with good intentions, but hasn't kind of worked out for them.
Yeah. It is really about, I mean, there's a few elements around particularly international travel that contributes to how you feel. Obviously, you've got EMF exposure, you've got, lack of grounding, but the primary thing is interruption to sleep. And jet lag, I mean, it's very much feels like you've had several bad nights sleep. And when you're not sleeping properly, inflammatory chemicals build up in the brain, so you feel headachy, foggy, tired. And so it's not just around nailing the sleep part, but that is a big part of it. And maybe I'll dive right in and talk about that.
Yes, tell us when to sleep, like nap, all of the things.
All the things. I'm actually having flashbacks. Didn't we work out your plan together?
Yeah.
Did. Yeah. Okay, so priority number one is protecting your sleep and how much rest you're getting. And that depends a lot on like how far you're flying, whether you're flying out during the day or nighttime, like how much sleep you got the night before. And so there's a few different ways you might do this. But essentially what I try and do is on the day of travel, shift into the time zone of my destination.
Of your end destination?
Well, are we talking like short stopovers?
Yeah. Let's say a few hours of a stopover and then you're moving on to the next place.
Again, it depends on how, all depends, doesn't it? All you're trying to do is make sure you're getting enough sleep. So if I'm traveling, whether I'm traveling during the day or at night, the day that I wake up on my travel day, I'll make sure I've had a really good night's sleep the night before. But if I'm not flying out until much later, I might try and have an afternoon nap to kind of front load a bit of rest, especially if I've got a stopover, because there's nothing worse than like feeling all discombobulated in the middle of a long haul trip. But then from there, I would try and use melatonin to set my circadian rhythm with the sleep time zone of my destination. Now, this is tricky. I really struggle to sleep upright. So I've got this amazing pillow that basically nooses me to a seat. It's amazing. It's
sounds great. You're really selling it.
Yeah. You can either choke or rest. It's up to you. It's a brand called Cabo, CABEAU.
Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah. Not sponsored, but also welcome to sponsor us.
Also not wanting sponsorship.
Yeah. And it's this really great foam, but you know how the foam ones, like you kind of head lolls around like when you're sort of, or you're pressed up against the seat. This one you can lash it to the back of your seat, and that way you don't fall forward, you don't fall to the side. It's really good neck support because I've got a geriatric neck. And it was the first time I've ever slept in economy ever in my life with that pillow. So, but even if you can't sleep, the melatonin does send a signal to your body that it's nighttime. Now, what that would also mean, especially if the stopover at the time you're there is daytime at your end destination, you might not be able to leave the airport, but try and get as much sun as you can through a window, even though it's not the same. And then just really try and set your body clock using, we'll talk a bit more about sunlight in a minute, but melatonin and sunlight. And so there's a lot of people who'll say also on this, like when you get to a destination, like let's say you land at lunchtime, they're like, don't nap. Just stay up. I unsubscribe from that. If you're someone who can function well enough doing that, fine because you will accumulate a huge amount of sleep pressure by the time you go to bed. I can't do that. But what I will do is have a nap, and we'll talk about coffee naps more specifically at the end of the episode, but I will have a well-timed nap. Now, each full sleep cycle is roughly 90 minutes, and within that sleep cycle, there's 3 like 25 to 30-minute mini cycles. So if you're going to have a nap, I personally would do 90 minutes if I can. But if I didn't have that long, I would do 30. Just set an alarm and just allow yourself just a little mini recharge so then you can get the rest of the way through to the night and actually then have a decent night's sleep using melatonin there, and for usually at least 3 nights to kind of reset. If you're setting that up with sunlight, that's often enough. And then, of course, you can reverse that on the way back too.
What dose of melatonin do you usually use? Because I usually tell people / take myself anywhere between like 1 and 3 milligrams. I don't tend to go higher than that because I think my understanding is from a lot of the research on sleep and melatonin, it works better at that lower end range versus the high end range, which works really well for other purposes, but not so much for sleep in most people.
Yes, it's definitely one of those things that is hormetically dosed. That being said, I think for healthy people, 1 to 3 milligrams is perfect. For anyone who's got cortisol issues or has sleep issues anyway, 5 milligrams might be necessary. But if you're just, not your average punter, if you're a healthy wellness girly like us, 1 to 3 is probably all you need. And if you're coupling that with sunlight, the last thing I'll say, no, I'm going to say that
It's not
later.
the last thing you'll say.
No.
Stop lying to the people,
I'm going
please.
to okay, that's it. I'm joking. I will shut up there because I've got one other thing to say about the light thing, but that's coming after what you want to say.
Well, I actually have one more thing to ask you.
Yeah.
That I know will come up as a question for people. Fast release or slow release melatonin? Because, I mean, sometimes people might not be aware that you can get like quick release ones or ones that are more slow. And gradual.
You're just really hitting me with all the hard questions.
Okay, I'll give my 2 cents first. Slow. Give you a moment to
I would say slow.
Yeah, I would say slow as well.
Yeah.
Because I think my rationale of thinking through that is we're trying to send as close to a natural signal as possible, and the reality is melatonin would like gradually build or release in the body. The fast is helpful for people in other situations when they're just maybe trying to get that drowsy onset of sleep to get to sleep. But for the purpose of this and how I mostly use it, I'd say that's slow release.
Yes, I personally have a fast release one, but you're right. I think you're trying to send a biological signal of nighttime with it to reset the circadian rhythm, and that sort of drip feeding over time is going to be much more effective and in line with our biology than something that, kind of makes you fall asleep quickly but maybe doesn't kind of hold you there. So, yeah.
I guess you could play around with it. I mean,
good.
I've only ever used the slow release one for this purpose, but
yeah, that would be my instinct too.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I would say is relevant in this situation is also like the timing of food and even caffeine. But staying on the food thing, when we think about day to day, right? Food and when we eat is a signal to our body about where we are at in the circadian clock. So the way that I manage this, and feel free to jump in after if you do it a little bit differently, is the day that I am traveling, like my travel day, I will start to eat in the time zone that I'm going to. So, and I'm not absolutely like down to a T about it, but I'll try and shift it so that it's as close to that as possible. And the most important thing being like you're not eating in the middle of the night equivalent to where you're going.
Yes.
So that I think really helps. And the same thing as you move through your travel, you're trying to like continue to align with where you're going, and then the same thing with when you're coming back.
Yes.
Would you agree, or is there anything differently you'd say about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the underlying principle, which I firmly agree with, is to avoid eating at a time it would be nighttime at your destination. But I don't align with it on the day of travel. I think because adrenal, cortisol, blood sugar things for me personally.
Yeah.
But it also depends on the time of my flight as well. So let's say it's a night flight. That day I'll just live as normal. I have breakfast, lunch, maybe get a healthy dinner at the airport, and then close the eating window and then work out like when my next meal would be, which I typically try and keep 12 hours overnight as a fast, but then depending on the time zone, it might end up being a bit longer before I eat. Or if I think I'm going to get hungry before then, I might have a little protein bar. But as soon as possible, or as soon as the wheels are up, you're on the new time zone, and sticking with that would be important. And then for the same reason, sometimes I'll take my own food on board the plane so I can eat at the time I want to, and then close the kitchen for the night, so to speak. But I think if you have robust energy, robust adrenals, hormones, all the things, and it's not too much of a jump for you physiologically, that also works really well.
Yeah.
It definitely will support the whole circadian shift quicker, but it just depends if it's going to cause you stress on the other end, which can then be counterproductive.
Yeah. And to be fair, I reckon of melatonin, sleep, sunlight, food is probably the least
last
important.
lever.
Yeah. So don't beat yourself up if you're like hungry and you're like, fuck, I'm starving, but those bitches said on that podcast that I can't
Don't eat. Not allowed.
Eat, just eat,
Yeah,
like to satisfy yourself. It's just if you're really wanting to be completely ticking all of the boxes, it's just another lever you can pull. But I agree. I can see your point there, because you're right. It's a bit of a balance between the stress and the cortisol release of having imbalanced blood sugar. And you're right, everyone's going to be so different in that space. Even constitutionally, I think people deal with fasting and shifts like that very differently as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely something to talk to either Nat or I about if you're looking for a personalised plan. Another thing, of course, which I can't go an episode without mentioning, is blocking blue light.
Yes.
And this is a tricky one, especially if you're doing long haul and you've got stopovers where you can't leave the airport, because you're spending a long time in artificial lighting, and it's usually lighting that's too bright for melatonin to kick in, but it's too low to trigger a decent amount of cortisol and bring your energy up. So you're left in this like limbo land, liminal space where your body's like, what are we doing? Are we going up? We're going down? Or we're just treading water somewhere in the middle? So again, I have seen biohackers, which I do not consider myself one, even though I do a lot of things. I don't. Okay. It's just, well, I mean, I do a lot of biohacking things, but I feel like biohacking's become a whole goddamn personality. And I wouldn't say that's where I'm at. But when I look at people online who would consider themselves biohackers, they'll wear blue blockers throughout their entire travel, or whenever they're in indoor lighting. I think leverage the artificial light when it's daytime for your destination where you can. So again, if I'm getting on a plane and it's nighttime but it's still daytime at my destination, I'll watch a movie. I won't wear blue blockers because I want to stimulate cortisol and suppress melatonin until bedtime at my destination. But if it's night there and like I've taken off but it was night like 3 hours earlier, I will get my blue blockers on at the airport and I won't watch a movie, and I will take, melatonin and try to like calm down early. So, but then if you've got stopovers and things and that's nighttime at your destination, yes, definitely red blue blockers. I have actually cruised around airports with them on.
Yeah, same.
Like,
but do you know how stupid I look? Because I have to wear them over my glasses.
Oh, darling.
I know. So I look like I look like a construction worker who's forgotten their uniform except for their glasses.
Oh, there was a time where I was obsessed with looking stylish when I traveled. Like I would, be in high heels. You would have
judged me hard.
Oh, no, I'm right there with you. Now I'm wearing like my EMF leisure suit. It's a personal joke, by the way. I couldn't think of the name for like loungewear.
Yeah.
I said to Nat the other day, I need a leisure suit.
And I was like, what the fuck is a leisure suit? And do you need help?
Yes, I bloody need help, all right. But yeah, no, I don't even give a fuck what I look like at the airport anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm wearing my EMF-proof outfit, which, by the way, is actually pajamas. They're technically
Oh,
pajamas.
lovely.
I wear them with like a denim jacket so that they sort of
what?
it just
What's a shacket? Like a.
well, it's like a denim jacket, but in the shape of a shirt. So it's like half shirt.
Did you
half...
make that up, or is that actually a term?
Oh, darling, it's a real word.
Okay.
I promise. I
Well,
promise.
can't blame a girl for asking.
No,
after the
I know
leisure
it's
suit.
weird. It is weird. No, it's like it's a hybrid between a denim jacket and shirt, and it's
Okay.
more points to either lighter fabrication or like a scoop hem
Okay.
or both.
So like a cape with arms.
Close enough. Close enough.
If anyone wants to be
Anyway.
on their fashion marketing team,
Yeah,
please
well,
reach out.
don't look at us with our glasses and our EMF pajamas in the airport. But the reason I wear it is it covers my bum, so it's like it's just not quite so obvious that I'm wearing like non-day clothes. And then I've got my red blue blockers on and my EMF beanie, and I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy at the airport. But yes, I would definitely be going full red blue blockers if it's nighttime at your destination, and basically you're just controlling or mitigating some of those stimulatory or inhibiting factors for
including
yourself.
anyone approaching you for
Oh yeah,
conversation.
no one's going to keep you awake for it with a nice chat because you look like a friggin' weirdo.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I highly recommend and rate using the blue light blockers because it's really the only thing you can control. The other thing, which I feel like you may agree with me on, but correct me if I'm wrong, if it is a time when you're in an airport and you're supposed to be asleep, for example, or it's nighttime at your destination, so we're doing the whole blue light blocking thing on, I also try and cover my body up as much as possible from the light. I mean, I'm not wearing a full bodysuit and, I'm not pulling my beanie right down my face and like something over my mouth, but I just mean I'm not cruising around in like a singlet and shorts.
Yes.
I'd be trying to like cover as much of my skin surface up so there's minimal, picking up from the artificial light that it's daytime.
Yes, this is a really important point. And it's why when people are like addressing their light environment at home, I actually strongly recommend they change their lighting because yes, red blue blockers are great and will do a lot of heavy lifting, but our skin has light receptors also, and they are so sensitive. There was a military experiment where they actually reset soldiers' circadian rhythm by applying bright light to the back of their knees.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not a small influence. So yeah, so even if you had like red goggles that didn't allow light in the side, your skin is also picking it up. So essentially long sleeves, long pants, don't cruise around in a little singlet.
Cape if you need to.
Cape if you need. Little.
I have actually worn a superhero cape recently. I was visiting my family in Sydney and my 3.5-year-old niece, we were just about to go for just a regular Friday afternoon walk with the dogs. She goes, Auntie Nat, do you want to wear a cape? I thought, who can say no to this cutie? I
Absolutely
thought
not.
maybe I was just putting one on before we left and then we're taking it off. And I'm like, yeah, of course I want to wear a cape. How did you know? And she goes and gets me the Wonder Woman cape. And then it didn't stop there. I ended up with a Wonder Woman cape, a wig, like a bright blonde wig that looked like it hadn't been brushed in about 10 years.
Wow.
Some kind of like headband thing, someone else's cape that got sick of the cape, and I think like a big pearl necklace. And I'm walking around the streets because, you do these things for the people you love.
Absolutely.
So I was like, this is not bad. Maybe I will add this to my next travel situation after now I know
Yes.
that you can wear this other fashion
Jacket
item.
thing. Yeah. Look, it'll double. You can throw it over your face if you're trying to have a nap. I love
Yeah,
it.
thank
This could
you.
be a new thing.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, what else? So I feel like we kind of covered the melatonin thing, which was the only other thing on my list, but caffeine. Let's chat. Caffeine,
Yes,
coffee. Tell
yes.
us what your recommendations are there.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing yours too. But I've got a
Have
cup.
one because it's delicious.
Yeah,
No,
have
I'm
one.
kidding. Go.
Just drink it all. Well, look, my couple of guidelines around that would be, first of all, I mentioned naps before. And if you're really worried that even if you set an alarm for 30, 60 or 90 minutes, you're going to be super groggy and regret it, do a coffee nap. I might, in the show notes, we'll put a couple of links to the things we've been talking about, but I'm going to pop in a link to I've written a blog post called on coffee naps. But essentially, a coffee nap, you won't get more than 30 minutes if you do a coffee nap, but this could be perfect, especially if you've got plans, like if you're meeting friends for dinner at your final destination, or you want to go and do some sightseeing that afternoon. You essentially drink a coffee, lie down, have a nap, assuming you're tired enough to nap. If you're not, then just go out or have a coffee, do whatever you want. But for me, coffee naps have saved my bacon, particularly when I was really chronically fatigued from mold. And what happens is when you're really tired, it's because adenosine, which is an amino acid, is building up in your brain and it's trying to trigger off the sleep response. Caffeine binds to the same receptor, and if your receptors are full of adenosine, this is when you drink coffee and you're like, it's not doing anything for me. It's not helping me. Bane of my existence back in the day. But what happens is if you lie down and have just a nap, doesn't even matter how light it is, that quickly sweeps all the adenosine off the receptors, and then the caffeine is absorbed and binds to them, and you'll probably actually won't even need an alarm. Normally you'll kind of wake up in a little bit of a rush. Not the best thing for your adrenals, so do not recommend this particularly ongoingly, but it is something I have utilized and, lent on that physiological benefit. And then as far as caffeine timing goes, the general rule day to day is no caffeine after midday. And if you're sensitive, I try and get patients to stop by 11 a.m. If you can have coffee right before you go to bed, you have a real problem with your adrenals, by the way. It's not a flex. But generally speaking, if you want to be able to go to sleep and not be stimulating cortisol and suppressing melatonin that night, don't have coffee after midday of your destination time on the day that you're landing, just to sort of protect yourself and make sure you can go to sleep. And of course, because coffee does stimulate cortisol, you can use it the following morning, like most people use it every morning anyway, to kind of wake you up and again, set your circadian rhythm along with light, just to kind of give your body that signal that, okay, it's daytime, it's go time.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I have nothing to add there.
Okay.
Other than to maybe just share with people a couple of resources. So obviously you can listen to this podcast and figure that out.
Yes.
You can also, there's an app called Time Shifter, and you can put in your details of your travel, and it will help create a little plan for you. And then the blog post that you mentioned around the coffee nap. Is there any other resources that you want to mention?
You know what? I've got a blue light guide, which might be helpful. And in there, you can obviously see the recommendations around the glasses and
Yes.
Yeah.
God, I love them. But yeah, so sorry for those of you who actually already wear glasses. You're not going to look very attractive. And welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Great. You just
There is a cutie pie in it.
Maybe that's what we'll make our capes about.
We're going to make it cool. We are going to make it cool.
Yeah, I have faith in you about that.
I'll do my
but
best.
I might just have to just surrender. All right, friends. Well, happy travel, and we hope that you avoid jet lag from here on out.
See you in the next episode. Bye.